Happy Friday, it's August 11th, and this is the start of a new reading vlog. I am still, however, in the middle of a book that I was reading in last week's reading vlog. I just finished the last clip for that one too, and am exporting it right now. Anyway, the book that I am still reading is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. I am still very much into it. It's still reading really fast. I just haven't had a chance to read more of it today between work and doing some chores and then editing this vlog. I'd forgotten how much time it takes me to edit vlogs, but yeah, it was kind of fun to look back and just see all my thoughts through the books that I was reading last week. So I'm hoping that I'll get a good chunk of this one read today. I definitely plan to finish it tomorrow just because I want to start something new this week. I'm still really enjoying it. Yesterday, the part that I read was part 3, and it is probably the part of this book that really captures the fairy tale feel of the series the best. I really enjoyed seeing Vasha just go through more things. I especially love that she gets reunited with the Winter King, with Borosco in that part. I feel like it's safe to say that it's been a long time coming for them. I'm not really going to explain why they were separated or why they're now back in the same area or vicinity, but I don't know, I really have been enjoying my time reading The Winter of the Witch. I genuinely have no idea. Plane. That's a hazard of living not so far from an airport. But anyway, I genuinely do not know why I put off reading this series finale for so long. I really don't know when it's that good. It is genuinely one of the best things I've read in a while, and I'm so mad that I put it off for years at this point. 2019 is when this book came out, so that's 4 years? I feel like it's too long to have waited. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying this, and I'm so glad I'm finally reading it. I've said it before, but I mean it every single time because it's true. Happy Saturday, friends! It is August 12th, and I have gotten no reading done since at some point yesterday, and that's because I was editing a vlog, and then I started crocheting, which I'll probably show you guys what our end result of our first session of the crochet club, which is what we have deemed ourselves at this point, has done. But anyway, I have done no reading, but I did edit the vlog, I did do a little bit of crochet, I did do a little bit of cleanup and chores, and I also managed to film some videos for the channel, which should hopefully be going up soon. They basically recap everything that I've read so far in 2023, which I'm pretty proud of. I managed to keep them pretty short, which is always a good thing. Anyway, I'm hoping to get some reading done soon, but right now I need to eat lunch because it's a bit late in the afternoon and I am starving, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then I will check back if I do end up reading later or if I end up getting crafty. Who knows at this point. Sorry if it's a bit shaky. I'm trying to do this reading update on my way home. Had to walk from a further subway station than normal, so that's fun. But anyway, I finished The Winter of the Witch yesterday and it was really good. I loved finally finding out how everything came to an end. And I think I said it already, but Catherine Arden's writing is so wonderful, and I just love getting swept up in the sort of fairy tale, but also war and political intrigue and power play vibes of this story. It was really great, and I'm kind of mad that I waited so long. That book came out in 2019, and I didn't read it until this year. So thanks to Kristen for picking it, and also for Buddy reading it with me, because that got my button gear, and now I finished a series, and I'm happy to say it deserves a spot on my shelf for sure as one that I would love to revisit in the future. I started reading Her Radiant Curse by Elizabeth Lim. It's a standalone novel set in the same world as her two duologies, and so far I'm really liking it. The writing is as readable as always, and the imagery that it's evoking is really working for me. I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go, and in an effort to not really spoil what happens in that one or who it's about, I'll say that it's about a character that we've already met in the other books, and it's kind of their sort of backstory. And so far I'm really interested, and I'm very curious to see how things play out. even though I kind of know how it plays out because I know how her story goes. Anyway, point being, it's good so far. I was reading Tales from the Cafe. I have made it 2 stories in, and what I really enjoy about it is the slice of life sort of look at relationships. I like the framework of having this cafe and this limited time and sort of seeing how in such few words this author is able to convey relationships. It's always been interesting to me. I haven't quite felt as emotionally tied to it as I did with the first book, but we'll see, because I feel like the progression is always like the first one is the one that I feel the furthest from, and then it keeps getting successively like closer for me as a reader in terms of emotions. So yeah, 2 more stories to go. I should be finishing this one today because tomorrow I am starting a new buddy read with Kristen. We're going to be buddy reading One Dark Window, which is somewhere on the shelf back there. But for now, gonna go and crochet. It is August 17th, and before I go to work, I thought I would film a quick reading update. Also, if you know what this headband is connected to, you know. I'll also show you my shoes because they're also connected to something anime related. But anyway, I finished reading Tales from the Cafe last night, and it was good. I liked being back in this world and, you know, getting to visit the cafe again and to see the different relationships that the author chose to portray in this one. I didn't quite emotionally connect to it, although I still found it super compelling to read. I just like how it's very much observations on life and relationships, and also different circumstances that can lead to, I guess, different outcomes. There were definitely emotional beats that were hit in a good way, so I'm glad I finally read it. So, since I finished that one, I'm starting my next physical read today, and that's One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is the Fairy Loot edition, so it has these sprayed edges. I'm buddy reading this one with Kristen again because it's part of our special editions list that we both have in common. I actually don't know too much about this one, except that it's more like gothic, I guess, and it seems to have a specific kind of vibe. I can't quite detail what the vibe is to you yet, but I will update you once I start it. And if you're wondering, I'm still reading Her Radiant Curse. I'm not very far into it because it's my alternate book. I've learned that I can only juggle 2 books at a time, so that's my second one. But so far, so good. It's very much in the early days of that story, and I'm pretty sure, well, actually, I sort of know where it's going, but I don't know the specifics of where it's going, if that makes sense. So that'll be interesting as well to finally find out what's happening with that main character. Here are my shoes. They match the headband, but also the backs. Oops, can't see it very well. Bakugo. These are my Bakugo shoes, inspired by Bakugo Katsuki from My Hero Academia. Yes, it could have been orange, but my husband made these for me. I love them. I also love Bakugo Katsuki a whole lot. Doing a quick reading update because I've read more of One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and I'm really enjoying this one. I had a feeling I was going to like it, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I am. I love the lore of it a lot. I like the cards and this sort of like fable folklore feeling that I'm getting. There's also like this very good autumnal, slightly creepy vibe, which I'm really digging. And I really find the magic interesting. The presence of the nightmare in this book is also something that I'm curious to see how it'll play out. Honestly, it's been going really well so far. It flows really, really well. It's really readable. I haven't felt like there was too much information being dumped on me. I felt like, you know, everything was just being given to me pretty organically. So far, so good. And I'm really looking forward to continuing it. I have a feeling I'm going to finish this one pretty quick. I'm really glad that so far both Kristen and I are having the same feelings about this. Like, we're really having fun with it, and I hope it stays that way. Like, this feels like a 4-star book for me. That's the lowest possible rating I could give it at this point, unless something goes terribly wrong, which I don't think it will, but I guess we will find out. I also read a little bit more of Her Radiant Curse, but I'm reading that one on ebook, and I haven't had a chance to really pull out my phone or my Kindle to read it. But it is very reminiscent of all of Elizabeth Lim's other books and the way that it's written, and I'm pretty sure that that one's gonna like draw me right in once I pick it up again, so I'm excited for that as well. Hola.
Hello.
Look who's here!
Yes, I am.
We're actually out on a Saturday night, which never happens.
It's like, who are we? What is happening? I'm old.
Well, we're actually going to meet some friends from college who are my batch.
From 1734.
because we're that
I don't know.
old. But we had a very fun day hanging out with Andrew and Kristen and
That's
Rachel
right.
at Andrew and Kristen's house, which was a lot of fun. We were apparently socialites today, social butterflies today.
Ew. But
Which
that's
is
just
like
me. I'm just-
so out of character.
Yeah.
As an introvert, this is a very interesting.
We're on we're on our
occurrence.
last legs, actually.
Basically.
For this thing. But, you know, friends are here, so.
We got it. Guess who got a tooth extracted? That would be me. I've been having some tooth pain, and I don't even know if I'll include this clip, but I've been having some tooth pain, and for posterity, I thought I would film this clip. They removed it. I'm usually good with extractions because I've had so many over the years for braces and other things, but like, not what I thought I was going in for, but hey, hopefully it will help with the tooth pain. Anyway, I also finished Her Radiant Curse while I was at the dentist, and I just wanted to say that I liked it. Still have to think about my full thoughts on it, but it was good. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that for now because I can't keep talking while holding this gauze in my mouth, but at least I'm almost home so I can take a break. It's Wednesday, August 23rd, I want to say, and it's been a hot minute since I've done a check-in, but that's because for the past couple of days I've been having this pain on the side of my mouth, and then the solution to it was apparently to extract a tooth, so that's happened. Still feeling a little bit like headachy over that, but it's done. Don't feel the mouth pain anymore, which is a good thing. The first update is that yesterday, while I was waiting at the dentist, I finished Her Radiant Curse by Elizabeth Lim. Her Radiant Curse is about a character we've actually met in the Six Crimson Cranes duology. I don't really want to say who it is, but suffice to say it's sort of a prequel to that series, and I thought it was a really fun standalone to follow along. It still gave me the same vibes as the rest of Elizabeth Lim's work in this world, where it feels a little bit like an anime, and it's got this fairy tale vibe to it, and it's also very easy to read. However, I don't think I felt as deeply for that story as I did the others. It might have something to do with the fact that I kind of know how it ends, or like where that character's next chapter begins. And even though I liked the journey to get there, I also felt like it was just missing something that I feel like I had encountered in all the other work that I've read. So there's that. It was still fun though, and I would still recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of her work and of that world, because it's fun to be back in it. Anyway, I'm also supposed to be reading One Dark Window, but I actually haven't gotten to it much this week because I haven't done much physical reading. Since I took the day off to just recover from the tooth extraction, I'm going to try and read some more of it. I know Kristen has already finished it, and I really want to discuss it with her, so I want to finish it too. The other book that I plan to start is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, because I am buddy reading this with my cousin Carmela. She is the one who picked it for my TBR, so I'm very much looking forward to that, especially given that Kristen really loved this one when she read it, so hopefully I will feel the same. Good morning, fam. I'm feeling much better, if you can't tell by the fact that I do not now have gauze in my mouth. Still got a bit of a headache and still a little bit like of pain sometimes in my mouth, but much better than the last few days, so thank God for that. I'm on my way to work, even though I'd rather not be on my way to work since I'm not feeling 100%, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, I thought I would take the chance to talk about One Dark Window. Or actually, maybe I'll wait till later to that. But anyway, I'm excited because on my way to work, I have two options for what I get to start. I found that my sweet spot is reading 2 different books at a time. So the 2 options I have are Falheart Huntsman, which is the finale to the duology, the second duology in Chloe Gong's Secret Shanghai series, and The Secret History, which I'm buddy reading with my cousin Carmela. And that's really exciting because I wanted to read that for a long time. I know Danica loved it. I know Kristen loved it. I know a lot of people who loved it, and you know, I'm in the mood for that. The weather has also cooperated, so yeah. I feel like doing a walking update while I am heading home, but I started 2 books today. Today is Thursday, August 24th, August 24th, and I started 2 books. The first one is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and it's slow going because it's so dense, but the vibe of it is already really getting to me in a good way. It's reminiscent of a couple of authors, or at least it's the cadence, I think, and the way they choose to describe things that kind of reminds me of like If We Were Villains, which I know is something that's compared to it. It also reminds me a little bit of Babel by R.F. Kuang and some Chloe Gong and some Olivia Blake. Yeah, there's just like this very specific cadence that I have noticed in the books and that it's vibing with me. And it's funny because the other book I'm reading is Falheart Huntsman by Chloe Gong, which is very good so far. I'm literally less than 10% in and I'm already very emo about it. So this will be a fun time. Also, it's raining right now, so I feel like this is an appropriate time to read The Secret History. And I'm very much looking forward to continuing. I'm only 26 pages in, so I have quite a ways to go. But it shall be read, and I'm enjoying my time with it so far. I just got home from work. It's a bit rainy outside. And before I take off this jacket, I'm gonna like turn around and hopefully you'll see the back of it. And the reason that I'm gonna do that is because I am actually gonna be watching a Westlife concert here in the States, in New York, in March with, my family. And it's really exciting for me because Westlife is one of the bands that I've loved the most. I grew up loving them. And they were also the first concert I ever went to see. I went with my parents and it was amazing. And I'm so excited that I get to see them again. This will be the third time I think I'm getting to see them in concert. I mean, to be fair, I'll always remember them being my first concert, and then I'll always remember going to Ireland for their 20th anniversary. So that's really exciting. And now we have a US stop, which is amazing. Cannot wait. Also, I am wearing a James Bay shirt. And the thing about that is that he released a new song recently and I love it. I always love James Bay's music and I can't wait for more. Anyway, enough of the music fandoms, now to the reading. One Dark Window, which is by Rachel Gillig. This is supposed to be technically adult fantasy, but I do think it leans towards being like older YA or YA even. It's a good crossover one. And the thing about this one is I really love the lore. So it's about a girl, she gets infected when she's very young, and that infection leads her to sort of get involved in a magical way with the world because there is now like a presence living in her mind. In this world, there's also a sort of deck of cards called the Providence cards that grants power to the users. And all of that kind of mixes up into the entanglements that our main character finds herself in this first book. And I really enjoyed this one. I flew through it pretty much. Like I would say it's more like a 3.5 because there was kind of like a lull in the middle of the story for me and the pacing felt a little off there. But in terms of like the lore and how the world was, and like the likability of the premise and the characters in general, I thought it was pretty decent for a debut, and I'm actually quite looking forward to the sequel, especially given how this ends. Like Kristen, who I had been buddy reading it with, had kind of warned me about that, but like, wow, I did not expect to be like so hooked by the ending that I'm just like, give me the next book. Plus, I had this exchange with the author yesterday on Instagram about 2 secondary characters, and I already felt like there could have been something between them in this one. And I'm just like, is there gonna be something between them? And like the non-answers, but answer she gave me has given me some hope. So we'll see if it actually happens. Before we get to things I got in the mail, we'll talk about the books I'm currently reading. So I am currently reading on ebook Foul Heart Huntsman, which is by Chloe Gong. And I'm like under 10%, like I'm barely 3 chapters into it. And I'm already like emo about it. And I think it's just because I love the Secret Shanghai universe so much. I love the way Chloe wrote that universe into existence. I liked the, parts of history that are in it, but also the characters that I have come to know and love. I am enjoying their presence tremendously and just can't wait to hang out with them some more when I read the rest of that book. So I feel like that one's going to be a easy 5-star, so we'll just have to wait and see. I am also, however, reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I've been meaning to read for years. And it's funny because like I think I said it when I was walking home, but like this one gives me vibes similar to a lot of other authors and books that I've read and enjoyed this year and last year. And I think it's a good thing. Like, I think this is really the kind of writing that appeals to me. And it's funny because I keep thinking I'm reading it fast, but I'm really not. Like, I have literally read, 26 pages today, and that's on both of my commutes, which is like 40 minutes each back and forth. So it's kind of a dense book, but I am enthralled every time I pick it up. And I very much am looking forward to seeing what happens in it. Like, I really know nothing much, except that it has like a Roman Greek, or is it just Greek? I think it's just Greek tragedy aspect to it, and that's about it. But so far, so good. Now we're going to talk about book mail, because I got quite a bit of book mail. So the first is actually this copy of A Foul Lady Fortune, which is by the Bookish Box. I quite enjoyed this. This actually had 2 variant covers, and this one is the Orion one. I love him. I love the sprayed edges, by the way, as well. Back cover, it's got that, and then there's also this reverse dust jacket. My only issue with it is that there is a slight tear in part of the dust jacket, like right here. So I've already emailed them about that, and hopefully they can replace it for me. But yeah, it's very pretty. And then from Illumicrate, I got the editions of Olivia Blake's books. We have Masters of Death, which has this really cool like bat pattern, and then the skull. It's like a cutout, so when you open it, it has these beautiful end papers, and the edges are great too. And then you have the beautiful edition of One for My Enemy, which has these roses on the edges, and it also has the cutout and these beautiful foiled end papers. It's just stunning. And as you guys know, this is my favorite Olivia Blake book. I have to tell you the origin story of how we got here, aka how Alexa spent more money on pretty books. So it goes like this. I had considered pledging for Brandon Sanderson's Secret Project Kickstarter last year. I considered it. And the thing is, I have read only four things by Brandon Sanderson. I have read the first era of Mistborn, which I thought was really good. And then I've also read the first Alcatraz book, which I liked a lot, but not as much as Mackie did. So there's that. And I was like, you know what, at the end of the day, I probably shouldn't do it since I'm not even... Oh, that's a lie. I've actually read 5 because I read the first book in the Stormlight Archives. What am I even talking about? Anyway, recently I found out the title and the premise of one of the secret projects, and I was so upset because I really love the secret project version of this book. And then Kristen so kindly told me, she's like, you know, you can get that on the website, right? On the Dragonsteel website. I'm like, what? And so I ended up, because it's my birthday month and because I also really love the editions, I ended up ordering 2. So the first one is Trust of the Emerald Sea, Brandon Sanderson, illustrations by Howard Lyon, and it's so beautiful. This green leather, the way that the title looks and everything about it. And I know there's art in it too. I'm really excited to read this as well because it just sounds like it's going to be right up my alley. But the reason I placed the order in the first place was for Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, which has illustrations by Leah Chen. And look at this cover. Listen, the thing that got to me about this one is that it has Your Name vibes. And I love the movie Your Name. Like, I love that movie. I'm obsessed with it. So I am very eager to dive into this one and hopefully be obsessed with it too. It also makes me want to restart my Brandon Sanderson completion journey. I finished the most recent author that I was trying to do a completion journey with was Victoria Schwab, and I'm actually caught up on her stuff, except for the new book that's coming out 2 months from now. Yeah, definitely thinking of reading both of these books very soon, but I'm happy to own the pretty editions. Okay, that's enough talking from me. I need to go edit a video because it is Thursday and I need to get a video up for tomorrow. I'm trying to be at least consistent about the day of the week that I'm posting. It was supposed to be this vlog, but because I had so many gaps in it, just because I had the whole tooth extraction thing and whatever, I figured I would do something else. So that is what's going to go up tomorrow, and this will probably go up a little bit later than that. You're gonna hear a lot of sounds because I'm walking, but I figured this would be a good time to do a vlog update. The weather in New York, first of all, needs to decide what it wants to do, if it wants to be hot or if it wants to be cold and rainy, because this in-between is driving me a little bit insane, just a little. I'm on my way to meet Danica at Michael's. She needs to fix something up there. And in that general area is a place I have to go to do a return, which is what I'm carrying right now. But yeah, I'm on my way there. I have done no reading today, which is rather unfortunate, but I did get a new video up, which I'm sure by now, if you're watching this, you probably have watched that video too. Thank you, if you have. I was hoping to get more reading done, but it's been such a busy work day. Truly, I was trying to sneak in a page or two of either The Secret History or Val Hart Huntsman, but alas, not the case. The only update I can make is about The Secret History, which I read a little bit more of last night. I actually got all the way to the end of chapter 1, and I have met the class in this one. And I find them to be a fascinating group of individuals. It's very much the way I felt when I first met the crew in If We Were Villains, where I'm like, they're all very mysterious and also they've got a type, each of them, and it's just very interesting to see that play out on the page. I'm also very into the first class with Julian, the professor that we got to attend, which was really cool too. And yeah, it's an interesting time, truly, and I'm just curious where it's going to go from there. I think right now what I'm enjoying the most is the philosophical aspect of it. The class in particular, they were discussing something that had a lot of things you could really sink your teeth into, and I really like that. So that was fun. I did have to do quite a bit of translating for phrases and stuff on my phone just because I wanted the full context. But yeah, it's been fun so far. Well, I don't know if fun is the right word. I think it's more it's been compelling so far. That's the better word for it. It's Saturday, August 26th. I honestly don't know what date, but I actually wanted to take this video to show you my shirt because I love it. It's my Anbu jersey. If you are a Naruto fan, you know what that means. And of course I have to show you the back because I'm pretty sure it says Hatakure. Because Kakashi. Anyway, that bit of fandom aside, please ignore the chaos. I am doing the sheets right now, so there's like a mess of pillows and all of that, but I figured I would take a little break to talk to you about the secret history. So I am part of the way through chapter 2 and I am hooked. I'm hooked. It's so readable. Every time I pick it up, I'm always like, okay, I have to keep going. And I think personally part of the reason why I'm so drawn to it is just the way that it's written. I think the way Donna Tartt does descriptions of things or talks about these characters or the place or even the series of events, I feel like I'm really vibing with that. Like, that's a very personal thing, obviously. You'll either really feel deeply about the writing or not, and for me, like, the way she's writing this is working. I'm sort of getting flashbacks to when I read The Goldfinch, like a couple of years ago. I'm always a sucker for stories where it's a group of people, and you can't really... You're getting such a limited perspective on this group of people because you're only following one character and his thoughts, really. And I'm enjoying the process of like sort of getting to see everything that this character is observing about the others. We haven't had another Greek class yet, which I'm kind of waiting for, or at least I'm waiting for a conversation where the group are going to talk about like something related to Greek philosophy or classics or pieces of literature. I'm waiting for that. It's so interesting right now because we're like balanced on the edge of like this main character who is the newbie to the group kind of finding his footing with them, and so far he hasn't done it yet successfully, but I'm thinking he might be able to. I really hope that you guys can see me because I realized just now that I probably should do a reading update. So it's Sunday, August 27th, and I am somewhere in the middle of, I don't even know, we're chapter 5 now, I think I'm on chapter 5. Hold on, I'm gonna flip through it. But yeah, I have read a substantial amount since the last time I did some sort of check-in here. It's been a time. I honestly hadn't realized how quickly I was suddenly reading through this, but like my cousin was telling me, things kind of escalate or start escalating and it just goes from there. So 2 things. I still think the writing style is what's helping me keep reading it so quickly. There are some parts of it that make me uncomfortable because of the language used or the slurs sometimes mentioned. Since the beginning, you just know that there is a murder, obviously, and you kind of don't know how we got there, and you start from the beginning of that school year and you're following the main character Richard, right? And the thing is, like, I didn't realize this until like maybe somewhere in the middle of chapter 4. I was like, oh, there's something very skillful about how Donna Tartt is building this very like eerie atmosphere that is, it's there, it's like prickling at the back of your mind, and you're starting to see sort of suspicious things with some of the characters, right? And I think she set the tone for that at the beginning because, you know there's a murder, someone has died, and you're kind of on alert a little bit for suspicious things or things that don't line up or make sense, and you are kind of, I guess, sort of predisposed to react in certain ways to like certain statements or certain character actions and stuff like that. And so like there's been this like prickling like sense of unease, and like something is very suspicious about this group of characters and some of the things going on. And it's a slow build, right? Until it isn't. I literally finished reading chapter 4 yet. Like, okay, a lot of things happened in chapter 4, but I literally finished it yesterday. I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's one of those things where I told Kristen and I told my cousin Carmela, I'm like, I have no idea what the heck is happening. Like, I kind of do, but I also don't. And like, I don't even care because at this point I'm just like in it because I just want to know. Like, I have this need to know. I actually started tabbing and highlighting a bit. You probably can't see the tabs very well because they're in this very like pale colors. And I only have 2 sets of tabs for this. I have one for, statements or ideas or feelings that I felt were expressed in a way that I thought was really striking. And then I also have some for like some concepts and themes that are more academic in tone that made me sort of think about stuff. So it's been interesting. I don't know where it's gonna go from here. I'm not even halfway, okay? And like so much has happened already and I don't know what's gonna happen. And based on Kristen's vlog, I haven't watched the spoiler part of it, but I know there's only 8 chapters in an epilogue. And I'm already in chapter 5, so I'm like, this? Like, what is this? What is happening here? Like, It's been a great reading experience so far. Unfortunately, that means Foulheart Huntsman has suffered a bit because I've been focusing so hard on reading The Secret History. Because every time I pick it up, I just can't put it down. So what I'm gonna do is I'll probably hit pause on that one and then just restart it after I finish this. Because I'm pretty sure I will also fly through that one when I'm reading it. I just can't concentrate on it right now because The Secret History is taking over my life, apparently. Which is a nice feeling, but also like, wow, I did not anticipate that at all. I've also still been like journaling and stuff. Here's what I'm working with. I've caught up on a couple of months worth, but like only the first part of it. So the way I've done my journal for this year is that I have been individually writing about the books that I've read, and not very long reviews or anything, but I'm working on the review part of it because the next part that I'm going to work on is the like more decorative part of it and also like the quotes part of it. So I'm like doing it in pieces. I realized I probably should just start working on them monthly, which is the mistake I made. That's why I'm so behind right now. But to be fair, it was a very busy time. Next year, I probably won't be doing this again. I actually have to go back and finish the 2022 one because I started it, I just haven't finished it. Same concept, really. I've been having fun though. It's been nice to finally sort of get caught up on stuff. So there's that. It is Tuesday, August 29th. I'm on my way to work. And I have gotten further into The Secret History. I am at some point in the middle of chapter 7. Don't know exactly what. And I'm gonna save like my full thoughts for later, but like, damn, this book has been so hard for me to put down. Like I haven't been able to read anything else. That's pretty much all I want to say. Oh, and the other thing that I want to mention is that I started listening to Darkwater Daughter yesterday by H.M. Long. I will give my thoughts on that later. It's Tuesday, August 29th, so we're almost at the end of the month, and as I said earlier, I'm going to talk a little bit about The Secret History. I'm somewhere in the middle of chapter 8 now. And I think I said it already in an earlier clip, but like, I just have no idea where this is going. And this is one of those times where I am just content to let the author lead the way, to let the story lead the way, really. I like character-driven stories, and this one in particular is interesting because you don't really get to know too much about the characters, at least not in the obvious ways. You kind of have to sort of infer certain things just from the way our main narrator describes it. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not intelligent enough to talk about this book. I don't know why I'm saying that, but like, I think I'm overwhelmed in a positive way about how much or how compelling I found this one and how readable it is, because I'm just flying through it. Like, it is taking me a while because whenever I think I've read a lot of it, it turns out I've only read like a small portion of it because the writing is a bit dense, but it's just so fascinating and I can hardly tear myself away from it. Like, this has literally been the primary book that I've been reading. I am literally, 59 pages away from this ending and finding out what's going on here. So I don't know. And at this point, I'm just like, I am ready to find out how this is all going to be brought to a close. So yeah, that's The Secret History. I've also been saving my friend Kristen's vlog where she read it because I know she did an entire spoilery section about The Secret History and I want to hear it. So I'm saving that and I can't wait to watch it when I'm done. But yeah, this is definitely one of those reading experiences that really surprised me this year. So I'm happy that that's the case. In other news, I also finished listening to Darkwater Daughter by H.M. Long today, and that one was fun. It's not necessarily one that will stay with me forever, maybe, but it was a fun adventure. There were sea shenanigans, pirates, of course. There were some sort of storm magic and spirits and stuff like that. And I thought the lore was really interesting. And in that case, like, I am generally someone who wants strong characters. And I did like the cast of characters well enough in this one. But the foot that the story led with for me was the plot and the lore. So I thought the lore and world building was really interesting. It's not unusual or not something we haven't seen before, but I like this author's take on it, and I also liked following the plot along. There was a bit of repetitiveness to it at the beginning, but overall I thought it was a fun time. I was very entertained while I was listening to it. Didn't get quite as invested in it as I would have wanted, but it was definitely worth the read. And I think I'm gonna read the next book. It's funny because you can actually treat this first one as a standalone pretty much because it ties up all of those loose ends pretty neatly. So I'm curious if the next one is Well, actually, no, there is room for a sequel, yeah, but you could definitely treat this as a standalone. So it was a good time. Maybe not my favorite new book ever, but definitely one that I don't regret spending that time reading because it was just fun. Oh man, I don't think my phone can even capture how pretty this guy looks right now. For me, it's like more pink. I know in this video it looks a little more yellow. It's also kind of blurry. Let's see. There you go. It kind of looks more like this for me, and it's so pretty. I love summer skies, honestly. I just realized this is the second time I'm wearing a James Bay shirt in this video. Not mad about it though. Okay, so this is going to be the last clip of the vlog. I just wanted to wrap up all the things I managed to finish reading. I'm not going to talk about every single book. I'm just going to talk about the ones I didn't really get a chance to spotlight. So The Secret History, I did get the spotlight, but I wanted to finish this off by saying, like, this is a book I had a feeling I would enjoy, but it wasn't a guarantee, and I'm glad to report that I did. I really liked the way this was told. I think I've said that multiple times, and I just found it very compelling. I read it way faster than I thought I was going to, and I'm glad I finally got to it. It took me so long to get there, but now that we're here, I can definitely say I can see why this has sort of garnered all the praise that it's garnered. It's not a new all-time favorite for me, which is not a surprise if you know what kind of books I enjoy and what kind of stories I really gravitate towards, but I can admire the craftsmanship that went into this one, and I had thoughts, clearly. Then I read Half a Soul, which is by Olivia Atwater. This is the fairy lit edition of it, and I really enjoyed this. I had a feeling I was going to, but I'm glad that it actually happened. So this is a historical fantasy that also has fae in it, and it basically is about a girl named Dora who has half a soul because when she was a child, a fairy stole the other half, and so she can't really feel emotions the same way other people do. And it kind of follows her adventures as she navigates a season in London with her cousin. That includes some encounters with new individuals she meets, including the Lord Sorcier, who is one of the only people who could probably help her get the other half of her soul back. And there's more to it than that, which I didn't really know going into it, so I will leave it at that. But I definitely had a good time with this one. It kind of gave me the same feeling as Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I also really enjoyed this year, so I'm glad I finally got to this. I also finished reading Before Your Memory Fades by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which is translated by Gregory Trosselot, I want to say. And I really enjoyed this installment in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. The second one was good. I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as the first, and I think it's because I didn't get as emotionally invested in the characters. What I liked about this one was we're transported to a new setting and we meet a new group of people. We still have some ties to the first two books in the series, of course, but I liked the change in setting and I like the change in situation, and I think thematically a lot of what the different characters who want to travel back into the past, etc., are going through are things that I could relate to. So I enjoyed that a lot, and I just flew through this one, which made it a good pick for the end of the month, of course. And the last book, which I finished reading today, I did a hybrid, like physical and audiobook read, is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which is by Megan Bannon. So my friend DJ was the one who told me to read this one, along with, I think, Half a Soul as well. And I really enjoyed this. I was worried a little bit at first because at the beginning I was liking it, but I wasn't loving it. And then somewhere in the middle, there's also kind of a lull of a bit in the pacing, which I didn't necessarily love. But the thing is, before I knew it, I was really invested in Mercy and in Heart and in the outcome of their romance and other things that they are struggling with. And I quite enjoyed Megan Bannon's fantastical elements in her story. I thought they were fun. They felt a bit unique to me as well. But really, it's the characters that I ended up falling in love with. I adored Mercy, I adored Heart, I love the secondary cast, and I got so invested that I was very emotional at a certain point and teary-eyed. So for me, if a book is able to elicit that kind of strong emotional reaction, of course it's going to be an overall book that I adored, and I'm so glad I finally got to read this one and that I ended my month on such a high note with it. And that is the end of this vlog. It's literally been, I think, like 3 weeks of footage. Sorry if it's a bit long. I'm hoping in the future to either do weekly or bi-weekly, but for now, this is all I've got for you for August, which is my birthday month, so I'm sharing. And yes, it does mean that I will be attempting to continue with vlogging. I will see you guys with another video soon. Bye!